Yeah, imagine being a new viewer and coming across a really shitty Gollum impression. Heck, if you are a new viewer, welcome to my channel where I love talking movies and all things entertainment. Let's talk about Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. How long you got? So The Two Towers was once again directed by Peter Jackson after the insane success of The Fellowship of the Ring. It was only fitting that they follow this up. And J.R.R. Tolkien's world is just built upon so well in The Two Towers. Here's my thing though. I feel like The Two Towers is probably my least favorite of this original trilogy, which isn't really saying much because these are three damn near perfect movies. But if you go back and watch The Two Towers, is it really all that eventful compared to the other two? See, that's a different question. Okay, so the premise is basically following the continuing quest of Frodo, played once again by Elijah Wood, and the Fellowship to destroy the One Ring to rule them all. Frodo and his best friend Sam, played by Sean Astin, once again, discover they are being followed by the mysterious Gollum, who I'll get to. Meanwhile, Aragorn, the elf archer Legolas, and Gimli the dwarf encounter the besieged Rohan kingdom, whose once great king Theoden has fallen under Saruman's deadly spell. Now, The Two Towers is a beefy runtime, just like its predecessor, and it's got a lot going on. It almost feels like you have two separate films, because as I was just talking about, Frodo and Sam are separated from the rest of the Fellowship, and it almost feels like Aragorn and his army are totally on a different planet. But you gotta admit, first of all, The Two Towers filmmaking-wise is pretty damn perfect. The cinematography and the direction is absolutely just as stunning as it was in The Fellowship of the Ring. You know what really amazes me? Going back and rewatching this, I just couldn't help but think about how amazing shooting on location must have been. If you look at any of these shots throughout the entire trilogy, mind you, there is no damn way that this was shot in a studio. I just can't buy that for a second. And it just leaves you awestruck at how much beautiful location is actually here on Earth. And much like the previous movie, The Two Towers really does feel like there's so much passion being thrown into every single frame. The actors are all giving it their all. Ian McKellen is once again fantastic as Gandalf. He's Gandalf the White this time, of course. Viggo Mortenson is just as badass as ever as Aragorn. He is just taking no prisoners in this battle. One actor that I completely forgot to mention in my Fellowship review was Orlando Bloom, a very young Orlando Bloom at the time. His character Legolas is such a badass. My god, is he so cool. That long white hair just blowing in the wind as he's throwing a bunch of arrows everywhere. Him and Gimli competing in the battle at Helm's Deep, how many freaking orcs that they're killing, and it just becomes a competition. It's really funny. That's another thing about The Two Towers that I feel like people tend to overlook when they rewatch it. This is a really funny movie, and it all comes from brilliant character development and brilliant character interaction. That's another advantage that I feel like The Two Towers at least holds over The Fellowship of the Ring. Whereas The Fellowship had to basically watch over a bunch of exposition and explain this whole world and these characters to us, The Two Towers have that luxury of not needing to set up a whole bunch of characters. The Two Towers has that luxury of not needing to set up this whole world, because you are thrown right into the thick of it. You are thrown pretty much exactly where Fellowship of the Ring left off. And man, oh man, is it a seamless transition. I absolutely adore The Two Towers. And you want to know why I really adore The Two Towers? It's the Frodo and Sam storyline here. Because not only are Sean Astin and Elijah Wood both magnificent once again in this film, you just really buy that these two have been lifelong best friends. It is perfect casting. But we are of course introduced in a more in-depth way to Gollum. He was referenced in the previous movie, but The Two Towers really digs deep into why he's so enamored by his precious, the ring, if you will. And turns out he pretty much is enamored by the ring exactly for the same reason everybody else is enamored by the ring. He wants ultimate power, and he absolutely is starving for that power. Oh my gosh, this little gangly creature, he just wants nothing more than power over all. Because this is a character who gets picked on a lot. This is a guy who could be really annoying, like a Jar Jar Binks level annoying. Thankfully, Peter Jackson found a perfect balance here. and Gollum honestly feels like one of the most sympathetic characters in this entire trilogy. And I feel like Andy Serkis' motion capture work really does not get enough due credit here. There was so much that he was able to get across with this character. Not only did it make you feel like kind of disgusted with his voice being all snake-like and everything like that. Matter of fact, I don't even know how to describe the voice he uses. It's so weird. But while he comes across very sinister and very like, oh my god, miserly. That's the word I'm looking for, miserly. But despite all of that, you can't help but feel sorry for him. That's what's amazing about this whole arc, is the fact that he's able to generate all this sympathy despite his miserly antics. And it's an absolutely fantastic journey the Two Towers is. Just like the preceding movie, I mean, it retains all of its amazing production qualities. The costumes are out of this world. All these actors are on top of their game. I've already talked about McKellen, Astin, Wood. Liv Tyler is great in this film. You have Cate Blanchett and Karl Urban giving it their all. And of course, you have the late great Christopher Lee as Saruman, who is just the essence of evil. Again, talk about perfect casting with him and his deep voice and his ominous presence. Rest in peace, Christopher Lee. I feel like this was your signature role. Now, while The Two Towers feels like the least eventful of the trilogy, granted, there's not as much action compared to the first movie and The Return of the King, which we'll be talking about very soon. And you still get the gigantic Battle of Helm's Deep in the third act, which is just a pure spectacle to behold. Honestly speaking, that is one of my favorite battles in the whole series, is the Battle at Helm's Deep. It is just so fun. And incredibly brutal as well. It really also paints a vivid picture of these characters' intelligence, because they see that these orcs and these monsters are all armored out the gills, but not their necks and not under their arms. So Legolas paints a huge target on that, and he basically relays that to the entire army. And it's brilliant storytelling, guys. I really can't say enough about this whole trilogy that I haven't said already. I think it goes without saying that The Two Towers is a phenomenal film, perfectly worthy of all of its accolades. I'm gonna give The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, an A+. So yeah, that's 2 for 2 perfect grades on this trilogy. How do you like that? My friends, I cannot wait to continue delving into this world that J.R.R. Tolkien has established for us. Up next, coming up in a video I'm going to be making very, very soon, it's a movie that's very near and dear to my heart. It's my favorite entry in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, Return of the King. The movie that sweeps the Oscars when I first kind of knew what the Oscars were back then. I cannot wait to relay some of those memories, and I cannot wait to get into the Hobbit trilogy with you guys as well in the build-up to Rings of Power. So if you guys are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Y'all are invited to the party. Smash that subscribe button, hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss a second of the action, and feel free to hit that thumbs up on your way out. These are all tremendously helpful in continuing to grow this community that we built over here. Lots of exciting movies coming out through the month of August. I will be seeing Jordan Peele's new movie Nope at the time of recording tomorrow night. I will definitely be reviewing that for you guys. I've got a lot of catch up to do on some new releases, so please bear with me on that. Y'all are the best, my friends. I cannot seriously sit here and thank you enough for this continuous support you've shown me. Y'all are really the best. You floor me every single day. So, with all that being said, Back Talk, commence!